ये गेम तो बोरिस गेलफंड और हिकारू नाकामुरा के बीच में छोटी करके मैं एक कहानी बताता हूँ. Like back
Okay.
in 2009, I went to a tournament मेरे with my big brother, elder brother, and in between round 2 or 3, I went for the restroom and down to the hallway. And the next to the restroom, there was a guy standing with lots of book for selling, just books. And my curiosity, I went there and approached to that shopkeeper and asked for some few books I want to watch. And they gave me one of the book to watch. And then I just opened up the book, and then I actually found this game. It's back in 2009 or 10. But I never know that ये गेम इतना एक ब्यूटीफुल और ब्रिलियंट सी गेम है हिकारू नाकामुरा के पास से. But at that moment, I have no idea, no clue what could be the game it would be. Because ये जो game है ना, now this game is one of the brilliant game in Hikaru's life. Now, 2 days, and now I can realize क्या गेम था. And I just with curiosity मैंने वो बुक देखा था और गेम भी देखा था. उतना भी समझ में नहीं आया था कि क्या मूव हो रहा है क्या नहीं हो रहा है. But nowadays I can realize what kind of game is that. तो वही गेम मैं तुम्हारे साथ डिस्कस करना चाहता हूँ. तो ये गेम
Okay.
हुआ था दिया.
जी सर.
अ, ये गेम हुआ था किंग्स इंडियन डिफेंस के ऊपर. क्योंकि तुम मॉडर्न डिफेंस और पार्क डिफेंस की मिक्सअप खेलते हो, तो आई थिंक तुम ये समझ सकते हो क्योंकि ये इसमें डायस्को बिशप फियांचिट होते जैसे किंग्स इंडियन पे
Yes
होते.
sir. Yes sir.
तो
I
हम
have
लोग
seen.
क्या देखेंगे? वी आर लुकिंग एट द ओपनिंग. नहीं, ओपनिंग सब कुछ देख सकते, बट वी आर लुकिंग एट द गेम प्ले, द आइडिया, एंड ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड, ट्राई टू इम्प्रूव दैट.
जी
ओके.
सर you want.
अभी क्यों बताऊँ? नहीं, नहीं बताऊंगा मैं नहीं बताऊंगा.
Okay sir, tell me who was white and who was black.
तस्वीर पे कौन है? पहले बोरिस गेलफंड, उसके बाद हिकारू नाकामुरा. तो हिकारू ब्लैक था एंड बोरिस गेलफंड व्हाइट.
Okay sir.
Pawn d4, knight f6, pawn c4, g6, knight c3, bishop g7, e4, and d6. So we are ended up on the simple and classical mainline के ऊपर, class
जी
king's
sir.
Indian defense की, right? Knight
जी sir.
f3, castle, bishop e2, and e5. These are mainline. कैसल किंग सेट. एक क्यूरियोसिटी हो सकता है कि इसमें अगर व्हाइट डबल कैप्चर करे एंड आफ्टर 95, इज दैट व्हाइट इज सैक्रिफाइसिंग? नो, फर्स्ट लेट्स से क्वीन विल कैप्चर द क्वीन, रूक कैप्चर 95. So does black sacrifice the pawn for nothing? No.
No sir.
Then we have 94 discovery over the
Nice.
knight. One thing happened, they can also play knight takes f7. But do you know, black to play, win the game. And they're thinking like if king f7 then knight takes e4 would allow black white just win that pawn.
Sir knight takes on that c3.
No, इसके बाद knight c3 के बाद तो knight d8 हो जाएंगे ना. So what you can do, yeah, we can capture the knight first with check tempo, then b takes c3 and we can win the knight. Right?
जी sir.
Okay.
We have a base
Up
up.
a piece, right? So इसलिए castle and the main line goes knight c6, d5, knight e7. So it is clear कि king's Indian defense पे white will try to get the initiative over the queen side with the pawn thrust on the over here, and black wants to play over the king side क्योंकि the pawn chain looking towards the king side and white की pawn chain looking towards the queen side. तो black के लिए king side, white के लिए queen side.
Sir, I want to ask that, sir. Sir, white pawn chain is looking the both sides. So, sir, how do we decide that it's looking on the queen side? How can we?
Looking at the pawn chain and the face. कहाँ पे face है? Where is the pawn chain? The pawn chain looks over here, and the majority and the space advantage for white is on the queen side, not on the king side. So this is how we can decide in two factors. एक pawn chain, दूसरा space advantage. So who got the maximum space advantage on the over the queen side? Black or white?
Sir, white.
So white will definitely play for that. So who will get the maximum spread on the king side and the pawn chain also? Black. So black can utilize the f4, g4, knight h5, bishop g4. बाद में pawn भी जा सकता है because we know we should move our pawn next to our advanced pawn. So the advanced pawn is on e5. So if we must push this pawn towards to that king side. General idea.
G, sir.
Knight d2, knight e8, and now is black is ready to push the pawn up of the board. b4, as we discussed, now white starts getting some serious counterplay over the c5 and try to utilize the space advantage.
G,
f5, c5. So white is not wasting not a single move. So he's going just step by step over the queen side with the pawn and try to put pressure on the d6 pawn. Now seems the f5 pawn has been moved, so you can go back with our knight to the original post and put pressure on
yes,
the
sir.
f4 pawn. Now the opening in the classical line is actually after knight f6 is pawn to f3. Then this moves is very natural. Can you guess the move? Batao. Black to play.
So now B6 with the idea of realizing the attack on the queen side.
क्या खेलोगे? Which move?
Sir, white by B6, realizing that.
b6.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
On the queen
okay,
side.
you trying to do things some matter. Like for example, you're provoking to either block the position or either just capture the pawn b6 and try to just minimize all the tension over the queen side with the move b6. Very nice idea. In some
Yes,
position we might can continue this, but we are not going to do anything over here since we are approaching over the king side, and this move comes very naturally, and this is the opening move is actually is f4, blocking out the structure, and we are ready to roll on with our other two pawns and attack the king.
okay, sir.
So look how
I
we are
got it.
utilizing this pawn structure and the piece placement along with prophylaxis the idea over the queen side is very important. So once you start your attack any one of the side, you should be careful. ये देखोगे कि दूसरी साइड पे that your opponent is actually trying to carry on their advantage, you should prophylaxis first and then attack. So the great player, the pro player always comes with this kind of idea: the prophylaxis and attack, not only just attack. At the same time, they're utilizing the both tactics. Look, knight c4, they're putting pressure on the d6 pawn.
Sir.
Now black is using the pawn over the queen side, which is, comes very naturally, and pawn a4.
Yes, sir. But sir, after opening up all in the king side and attacking on his king side, so after that they would not have come from the white side. White would not able to attack, or he would able to attack.
That is the purpose of this kind of opening, like not conditional opening. Like who would be the successful person? Who would be the successful person at the end of the all the sequence? Key white will win the queen side battle, or black will win the king side battle. ये तुम्हारी question है. We cannot judge by that. We cannot judge that thing because it comes step by step. All you just need to do focus on the current position and come up with the best one. Do with the attacks and the prophylaxis same time. If it seems you are correct and your opponents also same, definitely it's going to be a draw. But if anyone do mistakes and and underestimate some kind of threats, then definitely one of the person will be in trouble. So look, I'm just that try to tell you, just focus on how black is maintain this structure and successfully trying to do the attack over the white's king and the meantime prophylaxing white's idea, because तुम देख पा रहे हो कि white's last move, like everything is very aggressive, putting knight here, uh, moving pawns forward, getting space advantage, put pressure on the d6, right? So you
जी
have
सर.
to be careful over here also. ऐसा नहीं कि तुम खेलते जाओ इधर किंग सेट पे, ऐसा नहीं. So now after a4, what you can do? Now one of the pieces not looks good because the knight, and the general square for the knight is actually on g6. And
जी
later
सर.
part on the game, the knight will go to the h4 square and put pressure on the g2 pawn as well.
जी सर.
Bishop to a3. Now bishop was dark at that point. Now bishop comes here and put pressure along this diagonal. Now how could we play in this position? Like there are some couple of options. Should we go with like our own idea h5 and g4, or we play something else? Hmm? हेलो.
जी सर.
अच्छा, नहीं बताओ सोच के.
So I think we should go with our own idea.
Own idea. So h5 100% playable. h5 is 100% playable, but Hikaru played a prophylaxis move rather than it also an attacking move. कह सकते हो एक prophylaxis move भी है, एक kind of an attacking move है जो कि in future this maneuver will help us to
Sir,
place it on the right place. This move is actually do a lot of things. This move helps us by prophylaxing some ideas from white perspective and also create some traits in later part of the game in future. बहुत ही मल्टीपर्पज मूव है ये.
sir, knight to h4.
Knight to h4 right away immediately, I think it's too much.
Yeah, so
Because currently knight h4 it's actually not doing anything, and here white can start some real here because h4 knight is not doing. क्या कुछ कर रहा है ये knight? पहले ये देख. Currently it's not doing. We will play but not now. So you can play h5 because the
that
idea is g4. देखो एक एक मूव दोगे तो इसके पीछे आइडिया होना चाहिए. h5 की आइडिया g4 है, but there is no such idea you can construct with the knight h4. So
is sir, we
h5
can
is
a3, a6.
a6. एक बात बताओ, this is
Yes, sir.
one of the general idea, rule of thumb, कि जब कोई प्लेयर तुम्हारी वीकर साइड पे पॉन स्टॉर्म कर रहा है, डोंट मूव द पॉन्स व्हाट देयर. सो यू शुड नॉट छेड़खानी मत किया करो. डोंट डू मेस थिंग्स अप. ये पॉन रहने दो. जितना तुम आगे बढ़ोगे दिस विल बी वेरी इजी फॉर योर अपोनेंट टू अंडरमाइन द पॉन स्ट्रक्चर एंड गेट सम ओपन फाइट फॉर अटैक. बात समझ में आ रही है तुम्हें?
Sir, I got it.
जनरल आइडिया ठीक है. जहां पे तुम्हारी वीकर साइड है उधर पॉन अगर एट मूवमेंट होए कुछ कुछ पोजीशन है कर सकते हो, बट राइट नाउ डोंट मूव. इट इज द जनरल मूव मत किया करो, आने दो उनको. सो द मूव दैट हिकारू प्लेड बहुत ही मल्टीपर्पज मूव है. ही प्लेड रूक f7. बहुत ही एक शानदार मूव है. दिस इट्स कम्स विद लॉट ऑफ ideas. First, the rook on f7 is actually taking control all the 7th rank later on. I mean, the mainly on the c7 square. Not only that, after rook f7, it's cleared the square for the bishop, where the bishop can go there on f8 and rook can comes here on g7 for attack. And from bishop here, it can prophylaxis some ideas over this diagonal, any square.
Yes, sir, answer.
है ना बहुत ही मल्टीपर्पज मूव.
Jesus sir, it's a very nice
नाइस
idea.
आइडिया. या बहुत ही जनरल आइडिया है, ऐसा नहीं कि ऐसा मूव दिया पहली बार नहीं. बहुत ही कॉमन हुआ, मैंने भी बहुत बार खेली. B5. एंड नाउ व्हाइट इज रेडी टू रोल ऑन विद द बेसिक, क्योंकि व्हाइट चाहता है कि अगर एक पॉन भी सेक्रीफाइस हो जाए, आई शुड ओपन अप एवरी सिंगल फाइल. ये व्हाइट की चाल है. सो ब्लैक क्या कोशिश करेगा, ट्राई टू कीप क्लोज एज इट पॉसिबल. सो हाउ कैन आई क्लोज दिस थिंग्स मैटर. सो हिकारू ने बहुत ही एक अच्छी मूव प्रोड्यूस की, वेरी नाइस मूव, which which makes things close immediately. कौन सी मूव है वो? ऐसे मूव बताओ जो क्वीन सेट पे सब कुछ क्लोज कर दे. नाउ यू वुड प्रोबेबली से B6, राइट. नाउ इट्स लुक्स वेरी नेचुरल, क्योंकि प्रॉब्लम है सीरीज से तुम्हारी ये पॉइंट तो अनडिफेंडेड हो गया ना. अगर ये डिफेंडेड होता देन इट्स लुक्स नाइस. समझ रहे हो ना.
जी सर.
So B6 looks nice, but B6 doesn't work because immediately you have the pressure. So how could you defend the thing and also stop the pawn storming? क्योंकि this move is also very natural. For an example, अगर तुम bishop f8 खेलते हो, for an example, then B6 comes and they will try to destroy the pawn structure over here. So Hikaru comes up with a very nice idea which immediately stops all the pawn storming.
Sir, so knight to e8.
Knight e8 डिफेंडिंग पर्पस के लिए knight e8 जा रहे हो, डोंट डू दैट. अच्छा, प्रिंसिपल ऑफ एक्टिविटी के बारे में हम लोग पढ़े थे ना, लाइक वी शुड नॉट मूव बैक आवर पीसेस if you haven't any other choice, only then you can consider, but you have some choices here. For example, bishop f8 is one of the choices, but it's same b6. So I want to stop any counterplay right now immediately. This move looks very dynamic move है ये. मतलब तुम कहोगे कि अरे ये मूव तो पॉसिबल नहीं था, मतलब दिस इज द मूव वी शुड रिफ्रेन, but actually we can play that move just because to stop the pawn storm.
Knight to d7. No, sir.
D6 पर चले जाएंगे ना, D6 पर इज
Yes.
अलाउड. And it comes with a very forcing. Yes sir, Saira one. नाम सुनियो. He is very he is an old grandmaster like this now, and also be very famous right now. He's doing like kind of commentating the games tournament. He's one of the very strong grandmaster. He told one thing: take the pawn.
That means dxc5.
Big question. If you see a pawn you can capture, just capture it. This is his motto. And so many games he proved that, he proved enough. Like yes, sometimes तुम देख सकते हो नहीं pawn में नहीं capture, लेकिन वो कर लेगा. Pawn gambit क्या? So take the gambit pawn. His motto is like take the gambit pawn, any gambit pawn. चाहे वो किंग्स गैम्बिट हो, क्वींस गैम्बिट हो, कुछ भी गैम्बिट हो, ठीक है, पॉइजन पॉन हो, कैप्चर कर लो, जस्ट टेक इट. सो डी कैप्चर c5. So here it does so much sense because after bishop, look, the b6 and d6 suddenly is kind of a pause, and this moment, this time black can utilize own attack. So h5 happened, white goes a5 and g4 dekha, so he gained that time, and
Sir.
b6. So both are played aggressively and probably the only way to continue the game. So black also can't stop, white also can't be stopped. Black ने play, continue the game. पेस बन गया, डोंट स्टॉप. पेस, जिसका पेस कम हो जाएंगे एंड स्पीड कम हो जाएंगे वो हार जाएंगे. दिस इज अ पेसफुल गेम. मेंटेन द पेस, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. तुम जा रहे हो एक स्पीड पे, अचानक स्पीड कम हो गया, अचानक जो तुम्हारे अटैक थे तुम कहां से कहां चले. डोंट स्टॉप इट, कंटिन्यू. हाउ कुड यू पुट प्रेशर ओवर द व्हाइट किंग साइड. ऐसा कौन सा मूव है.
So bishop to f8 with the idea of rook to g7.
नाइस आइडिया. एक चीज है, बोर्ड के ऊपर अचानक एक वो आ सकता है.
सर क्या?
क्या आएंगे? देखो आ गया. एक से हाँ की मुझे ये करना. हाँ
सर ये क्या है जो स्क्रीन पे आ रहा है? कैसा चाहिए?
ओके सो मुझे एक सेकंड. एक सेकंड.
सर फिर से
हाँ एक सेकंड. क्या कि गेम क्या हो गया? गेम फ्रीज हो गया क्यों? अच्छा ये तो देख पा रहे हो.
yes sir. No sir. So I am able to see.
हाँ एक्चुअली क्या कि गेम इधर चला गया. आई थिंक गेम तो उधर है. लोडिंग स्क्रीन भी आ रहा है. एक सेकंड मुझे रिफ्रेश करने दो. अगर रिफ्रेश करने से हो सकता है वो चले जाए. ये क्यों हो रहा है? आ गया.
आगे आ गया.
ओके एनीवेज.
सर
हम्म.
yes sir.
तो फिर क्या निकल के आया? ये बार बार क्यों आ रहा है? एनीवेज.
सर
और क्या मूव हो सकता है किंग सेट के ऊपर?
सर pawn takes pawn.
कर सकते हैं बट वी आर फाइंडिंग सम अटैकिंग मूव ऑन द किंग सेट. वी आर
सर
फाइंडिंग
g3.
G3 एग्जैक्टली. बहुत ही नेस्टी थ्रेट है. क्या थ्रेट है? अगर किसी तरह से कोई इधर चले जाए खेल खत्म. But one mistake so many players can do if they doesn't know how to exactly stop this kind of attack with white pieces, and they might probably guess they don't play h3, but this will be a horrifying mistake. Can you find out the winning idea? Black, black to play.
Sir bishop takes.
Yes, in Sicilian defense कहाँ से आ गया? In Sicilian defense फॉर ब्लैक द बिशप इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. तो इसलिए कभी कभार व्हाइट चाहता है कि बिशप को ले ले किसी भी तरह से. रुक नहीं, ये बिशप को. सो बिशप टेक्स s3, पॉन टेक्स s3. नेक्स्ट दिया.
Hmm. Sir now no sir, sir. Bishop to f8. Hmm.
सैक्रिफाइस क्यों? किसी यू शुड डू समथिंग ओवर हियर. तो बिशप फिर क्या कर रहे हैं इसमें? क्वीन c8
Sir
अटैक
queen c8.
है ना? सिंपल.
Yes
अगर
sir.
किंग
We
c2
can knight h5 check.
और यू कैन
Sir
गो
queen.
होम. सो s3 नहीं खेला है. सो ही प्लेड द परफेक्ट डिफेंस. मतलब ओनली मूव है किंग h1 and after bishop f8 d6. See, white is trying to break through. Pawn takes b6 and bishop to g1. Now, black to play. There are two moves. There are two, three good moves here. which looks very obvious. एक तो rook g7 looks very obvious. And also one thing, क्या हम लोग ये capture करेंगे? Yes or no, बताओ. Should we capture the pawn?
Yes, sir.
Capture करने से हमारे attack रुक जाएंगे नहीं? Because after gh2 then simple bishop f2.
Yes,
And
sir.
how could
But
I
sir,
take? How could I take pawn?
आपने ही तो कहा कि वो ओल्ड ग्रैंड मास्टर ने कहा है रूल.
ऐसा नहीं, मतलब वो एक मोटो है उसकी, मतलब एक पानी पकड़ो, मतलब एक होता है ना कि आ, कुछ कोई भी मोटो एक हो, लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल एट एनी कॉस्ट आई विल नॉट गिव अप माई बिशप, चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए. तो मैं कह सकती है मेरी मोटो, बट इज दैट ट्रू इन एनी काइंड ऑफ फेस, एनी काइंड ऑफ position? Should you maintain and should you follow this rule? Never. Sometimes we can give up our bishop to get some compensation for any kind of like space advantage, center, whatever. But ऐसा नहीं you should blindly follow anything. बस उन्होंने ये कहा, right? Sometimes it does work, sometimes not. इसलिए, so what happened after gh2? Your attack has been just blocked because h4 block हो गया and you cannot continue your attack. And also knight h4 is not possible anymore because bishop. And suddenly तुम्हारी जो attack थी वो खत्म. So we should not do that. Instead, we should maintain the tension over here. Meanwhile, we can carry on with our own counterplay.
Sir, we can play our pawn h5, h4.
h4, no. Hikaru ne khela knight h4. So he is trying to utilize the square for the knight because it can go g2 square. There is a very important move.
We
I mean,
can
there is an
play
important maneuver.
h3,
For
bishop
example,
h3.
if a takes b6, what we can play? Very, very interesting move here.
Sir, bishop h3.
Yes, dekha how important the bishop is. If gs3, and this is beautiful move. So that is why after knight h4, Gelfand ने put किया है rook e1 because now if bishop h3, it will be made by bishop f1. So that is why the Nakamura comes up with bomb busting move, like blasting move now. Now it's enough. My all the pieces, all the armies now ready for the action, and now he popped in. Find out the move.
Yes, sir, but sir, white and white. This is a black, white bishop and black. Sir, black, sir, dark and light bishops are not developed. So how he has done?
तुमने क्या क्या बोला, मेरे सर के ऊपर से चला गया. और एक बार बताओ.
Sir, but sir, the dark bishop and the light bishop are not in the game of black. So sir, how he has done that?
Right. Light square bishop है क्योंकि light square bishop has the potential to go h3, but the dark square bishop is currently is doing its job by prophylaxing, like putting like taking care of this diagonal on this square. But somehow our attack is on the king side, so it doesn't matter like this rook active है या नहीं, ये वो active, like, but once you just start your attack on the king side with pieces, then everything will be good because you can get the king. So here Nakamura comes up with the like showcase move, starting out the fireworks. बताओ कंसिडरेशन में क्या क्या आ रहा है. अगर किंग ऐसी पोजीशन पे है, यू शुड ट्राई टू ओपन इट अप. You should try to open it up.
Sir, knight x g7.
G2. एग्जैक्टली सिंपल, उतना डिफिकल्ट मूव नहीं है. In the game, White captured the pawn on c7 and instead capturing the knight, he decided to just go for this line and try to make it simple as much, not make any complication, because already White a breakthrough on the queen side. And if Black and White successfully capitalize over in this position on the queen side, White might able to win the game. But D capture c7 was horrible mistake. The best move is actually king capture g2. I mean, accepting the sacrifice is important, and for from here is actually there are there is no way. I mean, no way that actually White can win that game, because in computer evolution says it is actually draw, but the draw is also very difficult to find. There are lots of moves. One move you can consider is queen to d7, but this is not that good after king to h1, and there is no satisfactory way to continue the game.
Sir, sir, here in that position we can play
Rook g7,
pawn. No, sir, pawn h5.
h4,
Yes, sir.
and then h3. Okay, so I think what about h3 and threatening to play g4? So you have to capture,
Yes, sir, but
and they can
uh,
actually break through with knight takes c5 followed by knight d5, and maybe queen b3 will come, maybe bishop c4 will come. So that's why we can go rook g7 and starting out the discovery check followed by knight moves and queen will enter the game.
yes,
This
sir.
could be, but this will go in a very typical and complicated line. I can show you one example. Knight takes e5, g takes h2 check, double check, discover check, king takes h2, and knight g4 check, pawn takes g4, queen h4 check, and it is a draw actually. H g4. This evolution says this is draw. But कौन समझेगा? Anyways, but this feels very good for black. Anyways, Gelfand decided to first capture the pawn and ask that I'm attack save queen. If queen takes queen, then rook takes queen. Seeing the smoke has been cleared, and now white can simply win the battle on the queen side due to the pawn is very strong here. But here Nakamura comes up with some serial of best move and the brilliant moves. Can you find all of them starting out right now? Black to play. The first blow.
And knight takes the look with a g2 check.
Knight takes and threatening mate. So mate in one coming. Okay. So queen e1, that's right. Next, open up the king. G2 check. With timingly and the rook enter. King h1. Queen is hanging. What you can do?
So here can we play bishop goes to h3?
Ignore the queen. Mate in one. So white defend. Now, one more move.
So queen goes to d3.
Awesome. Can I get a high five for this? Awesome, Diya. Love that. तुमने queen दी थी इतनी जल्दी. This is not that kind of ordinary move for everybody. This is the move that pro player and the experienced player can see. Queen d3 is a great deflector. It hits the knight, hits the other knight, hits the pawn, and also hits the bishop with the other bishop. So still bishop d3 can be possible because bishop g2 mate, and bishop a3 cannot be possible due to
Queen takes.
f3 and it's mate on the spot. So that makes sense. White goes with knight e5, now attacks the queen and defending the pawn on f3. Black to play. Now since been 4 to 5 moves, black wins is in impressing. Now one more time. Can we again ignore the threat?
Yes, sir.
Kaise? How could you ignore the threat?
Sir, can we play bishop takes on c1?
F1.
But, yes, sir. So sorry.
Exactly. Once again, ignore the threat. बार बार g2 पे चेकमेट थ्रेट आ रहा है. So bishop f1. Gelfand के पास और कोई चारा नहीं है. So he captured with the queen. Now black captured the free knight. Rook c1. I don't know. This is a rather क्या move है because he gave up this knight. Queen takes e5, c1 rook, queen takes, and queen e6. The smoke is already now cleared. Black is simply winning due to one extra piece, and active rook is just a win on the spot. है कि नहीं?
sir.
कैसा लगा ये गेम?
So it's amazing.
एक्स्ट्रॉर्डिनरी गेम ना? तो क्या सीखा हमने इस गेम से? What are the points? What are the points that we should we should uh, we should try to implement in our own game? क्या क्या पॉइंट है? देखो ओपनिंग के बारे में नहीं, but rather we can find some ideas and the balancing between the attacking moves and the prophylaxis move. So starting out, the black has the trajectory to use the pawns to create this kind of pawn chain, and timingly rook f7 was another move which defending and also future attack with rook g7 and timingly
This
bishop
was
f8.
a great move.
And also one of the move is d capture c5. This is another move here.
Yes, sir.
This move stops suddenly the pawn storming with b6. Then white needs a4, b6 like 2 to 3 moves. So in 2 to 3 moves, our pawn is already reached the g3 square
Yes, sir. We got too much time with that move.
with the d5, right? So sometimes often you can do that. I mean, sometimes you can capture this kind of this capture, which seems like you should not capture, but actually you can to gain that time. And after that, knight h4, rook g7, each comes with a natural instinct combination skill, nothing else. Because there is no theory after that, knight g2, and this all comes with combinational skill. So more you good at combination, this kind of combination, more you can find this kind of amazing solution. And final and showdown with queen d3, which ends the game beautifully. अच्छा
Jesus, but sir,
हाँ बताओ.
it was amazing. But sir, then also I don't got it why he has done that Rook C1 move.
Okay,
No, sir.
in the book, also after bishop f1, queen f1, queen c3, he also stated that he couldn't find any other move. For an example, if knight d3, queen c7, he thought like this is even good because of these two rooks are much more compactful. So that is why.
Sir,
But anyway, ये win है दिया.
right. Again.
Simply win. तो अच्छा लगा?
जी sir.
Okay, okay.